NXT, the Glorious gimmick. If they would have kept him as a heel when he got on the main roster, it probably would be a little bit better. But instead, they turned him babyface, had him doing a couple other things, then turned him heel again, and then pair him with Ziggler. And now, other than being with Ziggler, he hasn't really done much except for hold the tag titles and the U.S. title at one point.
And he has so many character changes in that span that he's been called up in the main roster. I actually had this discussion with Just Incredible. So, the fact that WWE kind of ruins main people from NXT when they come up to the main roster, it's just like it doesn't translate well.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, I would like to know, what they would do with some of the guys like Johnny Gargano and Ciampa. I'm like, well, Ciampa has pretty much said that if they call him up to the main roster, he's retiring the next day. He wants nothing to do with it. And I don't blame him. I do not blame him one bit. NXT seems to be doing very well with it. I actually, even as an authority figure, I actually like William Regal. I think it fits. And NXT has established itself as so much as the third brand that even WWE is looking to create a fourth brand as a what you would see with AEW Dark, which is more undercard guys getting experience on TV. So
when you said William Regal as the authority figure, I thought of like this meme and stuff that I saw with him screaming "War Games" in the microphone.
Yeah, that was the first War Games that they did with Undisputed Era, but I don't remember. I want to say Undisputed Era faced.
You're talking about the first one?
Yeah, the first one.
It was a three-way. It was the original 3 Undisputed Era, Cole, Fish, and O'Reilly versus the Authors of Pain and Roderick Strong versus Sanity.
Right, exactly. I thought Pete Dunne was in that one. Pete Dunne might have been the second one with Undisputed Era plus Roderick Strong against Pete Dunne and
Ricochet,
Tommaso Ciampa, and Velveteen Dream, wasn't
it? It was not Dream. Who was it? Now I'm having a brain fart because I just watched like all the War Games matches recently. Hang on.
It was definitely Pete Dunne. It was Ricochet. Oh, War Raiders. It was the War Raiders.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Ciampa I think was in the one of the next year.
The next year, right. And
yeah.
I know why. I just realized why I confused Ciampa and Velveteen Dream. They had a match earlier in the night for the title. So
I just knew it wasn't Dream because he hasn't been in any.
And he won't be because he got cut.
I saw that.
But anyway, tag team champions are father and son, Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio. So the next one was a lumberjack match between Damian Priest and The Miz with John Morrison.
God. There are only 2 parts of this match I actually enjoyed, and none of them involved Priest or Miz.
Okay, then what was it?
When the commentators who acted like none of them used to be professional wrestlers ran away from the zombies, and when the zombies pulled Morrison down behind the barricade, just Morrison's face, and that cracked me up.
So I hated the zombies thing, and I get it. They got paid a lot of money from Army of the Dead, or I think it was called Army of the Dead. They got paid for a lot of money for that to be a part of it, and I get that side of it.
Yeah,
WWE has to make money. But man, did they kind of ruin Miz and Priest for it?
Yeah. I'm bad for Priest because he just got caught up recently. He's already getting put into this.
Well, he kind of got the raw end of the deal. Yes, he did get a lot of eyes on him for being part of the Bad Bunny, but he went from this whole dark character to having on his, not for this, but for the previous week on Raw, he had in the tear that's on his pants, he had the Puerto Rican flag. Like he had to strongly embrace the Puerto Rican side, even though he never really did before. And on WWE TV, so it was out of place. It was very out of place. Then he had this one that kind of ruined the character as a whole. getting basically mauled by fake zombies to try and sell, a movie that Dave Bautista is part of. This match, it was not great. And I actually do think leading up to this, they're sowing the seeds of Morrison and Miz split, because they're already showing dissension between the two. So
Yeah,
I think that's coming.
I just hate how they're also utilizing Miz and Morrison, because like Miz was just WWE champion like right before WrestleMania. Like I don't know why they put the belt on him just for as be taken off of him a week later.
It's called
Um,
transition champion. They don't want Drew McIntyre to take the pin.
yeah, still I just and then Morrison has this huge like comeback. They ruined his comeback, by the way. Like I know it happened like last year or something, but just to have him open the Miz's locker room door. Uh,
I
I
think once they split and those two feud, he will have a little bit of a jump off at that point, which I think is coming. I do think Damian Priest versus Miz is going to happen at Hell in a Cell. I know it's like the third pay per view in a row, but it's going to happen there. They're
just
building this as a blood feud.
no, WWE just some zombies in that match, please. I know you guys get paid a lot of money, but still.
I don't think there will be. I think that was a one and done, but it still ruined the product completely.
Uh-huh. Oh,
Then we got Bailey versus Bianca Belair, and Bailey is definitely MVP of SmackDown Women's. She built this pretty much on her own,
yeah.
in terms of promo. Bianca's promo ability is definitely up there. I like her little attitude that she did with Bailey. I forgot what they were talking about. It was just Bianca replying "girl" blah blah blah. It was selling it like a legitimate heat feud in it, which was good to see. Um, I don't like Bailey's cackle, but that's about the only thing I didn't like about it. Um, but they made a really good match out of this.
Yeah, it was I actually enjoyed the two women's matches. I thoroughly enjoyed the triple threat, and I enjoyed this. I
uh,
I stayed away from it for a little while. I saw the promo for the match and just heard her laughing. I'm like, what the heck?
you didn't see Bianca versus Sasha, right?
No.
That's definitely worth watching from WrestleMania. There's not that much worth watching from WrestleMania, but that was definitely one of them. It was one of the better matches of the whole two nights.
It was what like
It was the
there's
main event at night one, if I remember right.
yeah, there's only a certain few matches I actually wanted to watch from WrestleMania. Most of them came from SmackDown side, so Raw, you need some work.
Well, and that's a discussion. I think, in my opinion, SmackDown is getting a lot more of the focus because Fox paid a lot of money for it, and because it being on broadcast television, WWE gets a little bit more in terms of premium, but also it gets a lot more eyes on the product. Raw is still part of USA, and I think because USA is not paying as much money for Raw as Fox is for SmackDown, they're putting more effort into SmackDown. Honestly, this sounds kind of mean to say. They should have about equal effort, and Raw should be a lot better than what it is. It's ruining its legacy at this
Ever
point.
since it became 3 hours, like I was okay with just the 2 hours. Because even when it starts, like it wasn't the best, but it was. I would say it was better than what it is now with the 3 hours because they have so much filler involved that it like stirs away from a lot of storylines.
I'm not saying it's easy to write 3 hours of television,
I'm
but
not saying.
the 3 hours would have been good if they would have actually, wrote 3 hours worth of content and used every talent that's available on the roster. Because I thought part of the problem with Raw being 2 hours is, they didn't have enough time to make, you care about everybody that's on the roster. Now it's just WWE is not very good at it. Um, Especially considering AEW. Yes, they have a lot of similar people nightly, but you get a mix of people, and their roster is not as depth. You know, like right now you have the Varsity Blondes being a main focus on AEW TV in the tag team division, which is Griff Garrison and Brian Pillman Jr. If you ask me how many tag teams are in WWE, I don't think I'd be able to list very many, especially for men's.
Yeah. The first one that went to my head was the New Day.
Right, the New Day. They're not Private Party. They're the Street Profits. Their gimmicks are so similar. I get those two confused. Private Party and the Street Profits are
Oh,
another men's tag team. The Dirty Dogs, Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode, the Mysterios. And that's basically it. Besides the Usos, just trying to make sure they're a tag team anymore.
Styles almost.
Yeah, I don't like that pairing. I I joked and called it knock off a man and his dinosaur or Jurassic Express because
Yeah,
AJ pretty much rides on almost the way Jungle Boy rides on Luchasaurus.
yeah. A part of I think one of the reasons why they kind of did it was possibly to make Styles Grand Slam. Grand Slam. I almost forgot he won the IC title before. I think part of it might have been that. I don't know, but
It could also be that they needed to get almost a lot of experience before they kind of put him into a singles run, and the only real way to do that is a tag team.
yeah, they're going.
The only bad part is they made New Day job out in a sense because they made him afraid of almost. Oh, this is a big guy. Okay, you guys have faced the likes of the Wyatt family. What's going on here?
Yeah, they're going to like. Kofi's been against a lot of freaking giants, and he has never been afraid of a single one of them, and now all of a sudden he is.
Yeah, exactly. And in my opinion, Braun Strowman is more intimidating than Omos, and it's
Yeah,
just because Braun can actually move fairly quickly for a guy his size.
yeah.
But that's WWE. I don't want to say 50-50 booking, but the inconsistencies that are there. But Bianca ended up beating Bailey, and I don't know if we actually mentioned this. Damian Priest technically defeated The Miz because apparently The Miz got mauled by zombies. But Bianca Belair defeated Bailey, and she's still the Women's SmackDown champion. And honestly, they should keep the belt on her for a while.
Yeah, those zombies, by the way, just go back to the Miz and Priest. They didn't even make it. They didn't even try to make it look like they were mauling Miz. I literally looked at one zombie. He wasn't even. His face wasn't even on Miz to make it look like he was eating him. His face was just like up, and like it's like, are you trying to make this believable or not?
It was an in between.
It was weird.
It just no, well, yeah, it's weird, and they shouldn't have done it. It is what it is.
It's like a video game.
It's like a poorly made video game.
Yeah.
The next we had Bobby Lashley with MVP, which MVP has been one of the best managers in WWE in a while. He's up there with Paul Heyman right now. Against Braun Strowman and Drew McIntyre. This one I actually thought was a pretty good match for what it was. I didn't expect much, and I do believe that these three are going to be facing each other in Hell in a Cell. By the way, especially considering, like you saw, Bobby Lashley was gone from the ring, if you will, kind of recovering after Drew threw him through like a panel. I think they're going to put this in the Hell in a Cell. What are you say?
That was like one of the only I get they want to do a spot, but that I didn't necessarily like. It's like I was hoping when I looked at it, I'm like, okay, maybe this will be like Cena, Rollins, and Lesnar at 2015 Royal Rumble, or Lesnar, Kane, and Strowman. More so Lesnar, Kane, and Strowman because three big guys that like the fucking hit people.
Right.
But it kind of was to an extent. Obviously, I think the other two matches were a little bit better. Right. I liked it. I just don't. If you're trying to make Lashley this dominant champion, don't have him out for 10 minutes of the match just to come back, throw McIntyre out of the ring, and then spear Strowman for the win.
That's actually not bad. It still kind of fits the character because at that point he's using the thought process of I can't take on two guys, so I got to buy my time. That part makes sense. I completely understand that. I didn't like the throwing him through the panel thing, but I do think that leaves space to build up Hell in a Cell to where he can't get away.
Yeah, I just don't like matches where they have someone out for like half of it and then come back and win.
Well, no, that's it. The idea behind it is to try and get more heat behind Bobby Lashley, and in terms